Hello again, this is Pastor Steve Dameron for A Moment of Ministry. Today, Pastor Robert Koss is with us on staff, and he's done some interviews himself, so he's going to kind of interview me. We're going to kind of go back and forth just with some church helps this time with Moment of Ministry.
So we are not quite to spring yet.
No.
And we have come out of a long winter.
Yes,
And
a harsh, long,
cold winter. And in our upper Midwest area here, winters can be long. And we are looking ahead to Easter,
yes.
But Easter Sunday is still over a month away.
Yes.
And so we have enjoyed last year getting a little boost to our outreach and our ministry through some motivations to remind us about spiritual disciplines that not that we've forgotten or that we've stopped doing, but we want to keep ourselves moving and keep ourselves motivated, almost like a coach notices, hey, there's some areas here, these are basics, these are fundamentals, but we want to get back to that. We want to get motivated, and the coach can come along and say, hey, it's the middle of the season, but our defense is bad, so we're going to do some defensive drills, or we're going to work on our passing. So I've enjoyed last year, before spring even really hit, getting started again with basics. Bible reading, Bible memory, and encouraging to our church to bring people out.
Right.
And then setting up some accountability with that. So looking forward to sow the seed this year. Not wait until Easter to get going, but doing a lot of work beforehand. Again, work that's already been done, but just getting the cobwebs off and getting moving.
All right, so we'll talk about last year, and then we'll go into this year. So last year we did something, remember, called March Gladness. All right, so it's a play. I think there's something out there that's similar.
Coming up.
All right, but I'm not sure what that is.
No.
But, so we made a play off of March Gladness, and so this was our card. All right, this is a large version of a small little card. Okay, but a large version called March Gladness. So what we kind of thought of is in the month of March, let's get people thinking about it. So we had some Bible reading, memory verse, trying to get somebody out for a different event. And we have punch areas that they can get a hole punch, and then at the end of that they get some simple little thing. All right, and I'll talk about this year more. So we did that last year, March Gladness, and what we're finding is in the spring we kind of like doing it. So this year we're doing Sow the Seed. Next year, actually, I already have kind of a year-long idea that we're looking at. But why are we doing some of this? All right, some people are like, ooh, you know what, I don't know about that. I mean, it seems a little spiritual. You know, you're crossing the physical with the spiritual.
Yes.
But the problem I have is I've never been able to separate my body that way. I think, as you said, is that like a
Platonic?
All right,
yes,
so,
the great philosopher.
All right, so he, I guess somehow there's a
He
separation.
made the great division between the soul and the body.
Okay, and I've never been able to split my soul and body yet. All right, maybe somebody
Not now.
that's out there. And I don't really want to get an email about that. I would just direct you straight to a therapist, all right? But or to the great Greek philosopher.
Yeah.
But what I find is that physically, I have to have some goals. Even now, the weather's breaking today. It almost hit 50 degrees.
Almost 50,
Almost
yes.
the sun's out.
Yes.
And I started thinking, man, you got your winter poundage on. We got to work at this. And so setting some goals physically helps me. So setting some goals spiritually, I find, helps me also. So that's kind of the idea then of Sow the Seed. All right, Sow the Seed. We have what we do is we make small punch cards. And I just have punches in the pulpit. And this is nice being a pastor. All right, because think about this. I can tell my folks, come on up and I'll punch you.
Maybe they won't get it. Maybe they won't get it.
They won't get it.
They won't get it.
All right, but just think, and then I
a good
can
feeling to
really
say it, at least.
testify to the
Yes.
really those out in the blogosphere.
Yeah.
They're like, my pastor
Punched me today,
All right.
yes.
But what we're doing is just a simple thing for about 5 weeks that just kind of preps us,
Yep.
and just trying to help. So what we did is we came up with 4 areas. All right, it's trying to get a visitor to come out to church. And I know there's some people like, oh, I can't believe that you would want visitors in the sanctuary. All right, hey, that's fine. Then don't have visitors. And I'm not saying that every service I have. Every service is I'm preaching the gospel. We're going to preach the whole counsel of God. So right now we're preaching through trials, what the Bible teaches about trials. In April and on Sunday mornings, I'm starting on what the Bible says about sin.
Yep.
So I'm not changing my message,
Right.
but just get someone to come out.
And it's
Get
funny how
someone to come-
God can use one of those messages for someone that's lost.
Yes,
God
because
can
we
use
had
His word. It's
all right,
His word.
2 weeks ago, we had somebody in our service. I preached on trials from 1 Peter, and it was the truth about trials. And somebody came forward, and they were able to deal with them about his assurance of salvation.
Yeah.
I have no idea
Right,
how
where that came-
applied there, but God can take
That's right.
the Word of God and still use it for someone that might be questioning something about God.
Yeah.
And that's why you get them to church. It's good to come to church.
Yes.
So get somebody to come out. Then we're trying to get people to hand out tracts.
Yep.
And what I find is a lot of people don't hand out tracts. So
Or at least not consistently.
not consistently. So what I'm asking is that every week you pass out a couple of them. And that could be at work, it could be at the grocery store, at the gas station, or you just find somebody and you hand out a couple tracts. What are we doing? We're sowing the seed. Then, this may sound odd, but we give some instruction on the back. We're telling people, be engaged in social media. Some people do not, that is not everything.
Right.
And at our church, social media is not everything.
Right.
Our church knows that. But we can't deny that it's a tool, just like everything else is a tool.
Sure.
So we give a little bit of instruction on, here's a couple of things you can do to help or get somebody else to help in the area of social media.
Our people are getting bombarded with all
Right.
manner of wrong on it. So to put out something that's good and edifying and evangelistic is great.
Right. Get a friend to watch. We have tons of material on YouTube.
Yep.
So get someone to watch a sermon on YouTube and put a thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, or get someone to look at something on our Facebook or follow us.
Sure.
Right? To me, they're following all kinds of other things.
Sure.
Hey, follow a church.
Another way to sow the seed.
It's sowing the seed.
And people, it's good.
So we say visitors, tracts, social media, and then the last one is hospitality. The church is supposed to be hospitable.
Yeah.
It is a biblical command. So what we're telling our folks is outside of your circle, and that means, kind of your circle of
Yes.
friends that you have. It could be relatives, or it could just be friends within the church.
your comfort zone.
Your comfort zone.
Yeah.
No, you got to go outside of
that.
and it's somebody maybe that has been reached recently in ministry,
Yeah.
or it could be somebody that you're trying to get out to church, and you say, hey, why don't you come to church, and then afterwards we'll grab a bite to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's, hey, in church, hey, this week, are you available Friday night? Can I come and see you on Saturday and
Yep.
we'll grab a bite to eat?
Yes.
So outside of your circle, be hospitable to somebody. All right, so what is all of that? It's sowing the seed.
Yes.
So that is the concept that we're kind of doing with sowing the seed. And then what we're doing is, all right, we're doing 5 weeks. Then at the end of it, we've purchased some simple 10-ounce tumblers that are, it's not tons of money, but then you can come down, if you fulfill this, on a Sunday night after church, we're having floats.
Yep.
All right, so we have Coke floats, root beer floats, or Dreamsicle. Okay, that's my favorite.
The
You can come
Dreamsicle.
down, you can get filled up with ice cream, or you can just take it home.
Right.
But it's just something to kind of motivate us. I know myself already, because of the visitor thing, it's made me think outside my realm
Yeah.
of, you know what, I could get them to come to a service.
Yes.
And that's all we're trying to do is get you to think about sowing the seed.
And the idea is when the 5 weeks are up, it's not like these things drop. It's motivation and encouragement and accountability to establish these habits.
Right.
So it's not like this is going to end. We want to keep on going. But it's human nature. We tend to let things slip, and we're trying to get them, and it's good. It's enjoyable serving God together and motivating each other for the work of the Lord.
Yeah, and I think that these type of things, yes, we're putting a little carrot out there, but really, if I'm knocking on doors and having someone over to my house, or I'm doing visits, or I'm having somebody watch a YouTube so that I can get a root beer float, I know I got issues.
Support investment. So, really, there's better ways.
Okay, all right, like you. Really,
right?
For a dreamsicle,
right?
You know. I think that Sonic sells them for $1 from 2 to 6 or something like that.
Happy hour.
Right. So all this is doing though is create a little bit of excitement within the church, and I think that's important. People get all bent out of shape saying that church shouldn't be exciting. They don't say it that way,
right?
But they almost get mad. They're like, that seems like it seems like you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that church should be enjoyable.
Amen.
We have a good time in our services, and yet we're not being ridiculous. All right, I am not having a nightclub atmosphere.
Right.
I am not turning all the lights down. I'm not sliding across the platform with my guitar. All right, with my big with my big do on and my skinny jeans. All right, no. All right, as I've told people many times, I think our churchmen, I'd be scared. I'd be scared to death what would happen to me if I come out looking like that.
Get your will in order before you do that.
All right, so all this is doing is giving us a little incentive.
And I'm excited for a lot of new members that we have. This is something to get them started too, and get them witnessing Christian life, these spiritual disciplines for them, and it's exciting for them. And I can see their joy. They love the Lord, and to give them something to work toward is great.
Yes, and like even we just had a man that's been coming he came because of another thing we did last year.
Yeah.
All right, last year we had a goal of knocking on 25,000 doors. Yeah. Which was pretty hard.
In addition to the other ministries,
everything else that was going on, and we would not count the other things.
Right.
It was cold turkey. Knock on a door. It was a lot more than what we expected.
That's right.
But there's a guy that just joined our church directly from that. Amen. So that is just an idea. We're throwing it out there for maybe a pastor or somebody that's involved in the church. Just a help that we have done ourselves. The one last year we did was March Gladness. This year we're doing Sow the Seed. Just something in the springtime to kind of churn up within the church some excitement about memorizing verses or reading the Bible or getting a visitor out or handing out some tracts, being hospitable, helps in social media. So just a couple ideas that might help you stir up some ideas in your mind so that you can sow the seed, so your ministry is vibrant. We appreciate you watching, and again for Moment of Ministry.